the Uncovering Greatness podcast. As always, I am your co-host, Labron Steele, and today I'm joined by our CEO, our visionary, our man of many talents, the ideasman. I just wanted to do a crazy drill about you today.
Sure, he wants it raised.
You know, it's funny that he says that because the conversation we're going to have today it sort of ties into that.
That's what you want. You're going to be fully disappointed, John.
So, for those of you who have, new to the podcast, the Uncovering Greatness podcast is a weekly podcast that we do where we teach from our real life perspective things that we are going through ourselves, and we relate to business, health, finance, entrepreneurship, and a whole lot more. And I think it's, this topic is a very interesting topic that we're going to be tackling today. So if you are brand new, thank you for joining us, thank you for watching, thank you for listening. Please don't forget to subscribe. And yeah, let's get it on. Barry, how are you doing today?
Yeah, good to be with you. So yeah, I'm good. Start of a new week. Yeah, really good. I had a great program with a client over the weekend. So yeah, love being in that space, teaching, helping people shift and move. So yeah, really good. Really good week.
Nice.
Yeah, good week. Other than this morning, faced some disappointment. That was it. But that's what we're going to be. So we're talking anyway. Just first of all, I didn't even say hello to you guys. Hello, how's it? Good to be with you. Good to be on another episode of our Uncovering Greatness podcast. I hope you get value out of today. Hope you're getting value out of our other podcasts. And yeah, as you know, I know Sully says this at the end, and I really ask you guys, give us some feedback. Send us some questions. And I don't mind the feedback, agreements, disagreements. I don't always want people to go, different points of view, different thoughts. I think that's what's beautiful about being human beings.
Yeah.
Just do we have the ability to shift those thoughts and feelings? So, yeah. Anyway, you said interesting topic. I think I've already put it on the table.
Yes, indeed. We're talking disappointments today. How do you handle disappointments? What is disappointment is like? And I mean, I think it's important to know this is from our viewpoint, from Barry's viewpoint, from my own personal viewpoint. You can, whatever your viewpoint is, it's entirely up to you. So as Barry said, if you have any feedback, agree, disagree, think we're talking nonsense, let us know. So we're talking disappointment today. Why disappointment?
Yeah, so interesting. Disappointment. So Sully and I were, talking about what are we going to talk about today? What came up? And I just said to him. So I did a CrossFit workout this morning, and it's any of you that do CrossFit or know a little bit about CrossFit once a year. There's a big comp. I think I talked about it last week as well.
Yeah.
You get it. It's obviously on my mind quite a lot. And once a year for 3 weeks, there's 3 workouts, and hundreds of thousands of people from all over the world compete and do the workout. And this is the most disappointed I've ever been in the open, and I think this is the 4th one I've done. And I was sitting in the change room afterwards. I finished the workout. I downscaled the workout for a number of reasons. I did the workout, and I was sitting in the change room thinking, "Man, this is really disappointing." And it got me thinking, what is disappointing? What does disappointing mean? Well, in my mind, and my goal, by the way, is always to try and simplify things as much as I can.
Yeah.
I love what I learned from Robert Kiyosaki. If a 6-year-old can't understand you're too complicated. So I'm not going to give you anecdotal medical evidence, psychological evidence. I'm going to break it down as simple as I can from what I read, from my life experiences, from 18, nearly 20 years experience in the game of personal development and teaching and training. And I thought, what is disappointment? Well, for me, disappointment is unrealized goals, unrealized expectations, getting to the end of something and not getting what you expected to get, or not achieving what you hoped to achieve. And so I sat back and I really, when I started out, when I look back at last year, I set some expectations.
Yeah.
I set some expectations.
Mm.
Nobody else set expectations for me. So I'm not talking about being disappointed in somebody else. I think they're different things.
100%.
So I can say to Suli, next month I'll give you a raise.
Mm.
And put no expectations on Suli and say at the end of the month I'll increase your salary.
Mhm.
If I don't, Suli could be disappointed with you.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about goals that we set. Goals that we set that largely, yes, all goals involve other people's circumstances and everything, but they largely involve us. They largely,
Yeah.
I want to do something, I want to get fit, it involves me.
Yeah.
Yes, I can get injured, but in the long-term process, I understand that those are things that could happen and can happen, and I may be disappointed when I'm injured, but I'll pull through to achieve the end result. So I'm not talking about being disappointed in other people. I'm talking about disappointment that comes from when we set goals, when we set out to achieve things and we don't achieve them. So for me this morning, I was disappointed. And when I asked myself, what are you disappointed in? Well, the reality is I wasn't disappointed in the result. Because when I was honest with myself, I looked back and I said, well, the reality is I'm disappointed that I didn't give myself a big enough opportunity to create the result I wanted to create. Why? Because I didn't do the things that I should have done, that I set out to do when I set the goal 12 months ago. And that was my real disappointment.
Yeah.
I didn't give myself a bigger opportunity to win. And now winning is, when I say winning, not against anyone else, winning in the game that I'm playing of CrossFit. Can I get better? Did I get a better time? Did I feel as though I could compete and give everything I have?
Yeah.
No. And the honest reason that I saw was, well, I actually didn't do everything that I could have, or everything that I set out to do, or everything on my plan to give myself that opportunity. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's what I was disappointed in more than the result. And I started thinking, and I went back into my sales career and my business career, and I go, at times, sure, I've been disappointed with the result, but never, I've got out to make a sale, and in the times that I followed my process and done everything I could to follow up, and I didn't get the result I want, my disappointment's minimal. Because it's like, I did everything in my power to give myself the opportunity to win, and I didn't. And largely I didn't win because of something out of my power.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? If I had stepped in today and said, well, I'm injured because I followed a training regime and then I slipped off, I slipped and I don't know, broke my foot, so I can't. I'd be disappointed that I'd slipped, but I couldn't look back and say, dude, you didn't give yourself every chance. You did, but something happened. If this is making any sense. So I look back at that and went, did you actually do everything you set out to do? And my answer was simple, no. And that's where my disappointment came. So let me ask you this. Give me a time in your life where you really faced disappointment in something that you set to achieve.
It's actually funny because you were speaking at our last cash flow game, and what actually came into my mind, I can't remember what it was specifically to, but I remember leaving high school to go to varsity, was still basically set out to go play rugby and soccer at Wits, ended up getting injured, basically discovering that I tore my ACL and I had to go for surgery. Normally what you do is you go through the 6 weeks of rehab and all that jazz. I did it. I tried for like 2 weeks and I just couldn't. I didn't give myself enough. I didn't give myself enough of a chance to really recover the way that I should have.
Yeah.
And honestly, all of that one decision impacted my sporting career from 18 until where I'm at today.
Because you were a good sportsman at school.
Yeah, I took the piece of that.
And then you sort of gave up.
Yeah, it was. But the thing is, it was actually it was the knee injury. It was the feeling of I can't actually do this. The 6 weeks process of going to physio and
you can't, or you didn't want to.
I didn't want to.
It was big difference.
Yeah, 100%.
So you wanted the result, yes.
I wanted to be healed.
So when you got to the end and you came to that conclusion, you hadn't. Well, I'm going to hazard a guess you came to the conclusion that I can't play that type of contact sport anymore. It's because of my knee.
Yeah.
Well, was it really because of your knee, or was it because you didn't do the rehab required?
I didn't do the rehab. It was actually that simple. And the rehab required was not just, actually it was way less physical than it was mental.
But at that moment, I'm going to imagine, based on our discussion, that wasn't your disappointment. Your disappointment was I can't play contact sport.
Yeah, the disappointment was that it was done. It was one of those situations where it was like, it's over. But that was actually a real disappointment.
So take yourself back. If you had really applied yourself to those 6 weeks of rehab, and you had got to 6 weeks, and you hadn't been at the stage where you were, yes, you may have been disappointed, but you wouldn't have been disappointed in yourself for not trying, yes?
Oh, 100%. So that was, I was, even if...
Is that one of the biggest things when it comes to disappointment? And that was my thought this morning. It's not that I didn't try. I just didn't try to the level that I know I could have tried.
Exactly. And I think
other things got in the way, and business, and I understand that. But that aside, I set a goal.
Yes.
I set a goal to achieve something, to do certain things. And I didn't carry them out. Last week I talked about learning how to double under. That was one of the things.
Yeah.
So when I look back, I go, that was the disappointment. Not that I couldn't do double unders properly, but that I didn't even give myself a frigging chance because I didn't practice like I said I was going to do twice a week for the next year.
Yeah.
I practiced now and again, and then I didn't, and then I did. I bought a whole program for it. I carted my skipping rope on my travels, and I could probably count out 5 times that I actually took it out. Does that make sense? So I set myself up for disappointment. Now, if I had spent the whole year and practiced twice a week and I hadn't got double unders, I couldn't have been disappointed in my effort. I could have been disappointed in the fact that I still hadn't got there, but not in my effort. And for me, that was a good realization this morning. Is that I believe is a lot of where disappointment comes from, because we just don't give ourselves the chance at times. And I see many people. I'm going to make phone calls. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. 3 weeks later, they haven't done anything, and they haven't got the results they were hoping to get.
Yeah.
And you go, and then come the excuses and the lack of responsibility and all the other bullshit that comes with it. Nonsense. And then they disappoint. I'm disappointed in my results. And then you ask them the question, well, could you really have expected anything better? Yes or no? And the reality is, I was hoping.
Yeah, you're playing that old space. I mean, you even said it in Sales Explosion, right? Like, you give people what, the tools and techniques and the things that they need to do. You give them a 6-step sales cycle support. 6 steps, very simple, very easy. 90% of those people will leave Sales Explosion and not follow that process.
Yeah.
And they get disappointed and go, and sometimes then what you do is you blame the person who, let's just say, for example, gave you the help.
100%.
Very 6-step sales cycle doesn't work. And it's like, okay, well, how long did you do it for? I did it on Monday and Tuesday, it didn't work.
Yeah.
And have you done it again? No, because it didn't work.
It's like you blaming the physio because your rehab didn't work on your knee.
100%.
And the rehab physio goes, but certainly did you do it 6 days a week?
No.
For the 6 weeks? Oh no. Yeah, but, and that's where responsibility comes in. That's where taking responsibility. So I can be in a mull over disappointment, or I can go, okay, so I'm disappointed. Okay, good. Well, what are you going to learn from it? And for me, that's just, I take that as an analogy for so many times in my life. And now the question is, well, am I going to learn from it and move forward? So I don't have to experience that again. Or when I do, it's not because of the same reason. Or not.
Yeah. And I mean, you were speaking about it before we started recording, and I even said, I said to you, how many people do you think like that? And you kind of touched on it by saying, no, most people move with hope. Right? So they have this dream or they have this goal that they want to achieve. They don't achieve it. They don't ever think, my opinion is, people don't ever stop and go, well, did I actually give myself every opportunity to achieve this goal?
Yeah, what frigging part did I play?
Exactly. And
so immediately go back to the take personal responsibility.
Yeah.
That out of Blair Singer's Little Voice Mastering book, the debrief technique.
Mm-hmm.
What worked?
What didn't work?
What didn't work? What did I learn? What could I have done better? You know, so you go back to that. I'd rather say, what did I work? What didn't I work? Based on my plan.
Yeah.
What have I learned? And what can I do better next time? Now I take responsibility. The result's gone. I can't do anything about the result. It's gone. So now I set myself up for next year. I set myself up for the next process. I set myself up for the next sale. I set myself up for the next deal. I set myself up for the next financial year. You know?
So I mean, the question that I also had for you is like, so that the whole the CrossWord building situation and the disappointment there, how much does that then impact your life, your business life, personal life? Does it trickle down or?
Well, I think all those things can if you let them.
Yeah.
It's being, that's where self-awareness comes in. How self-aware are you? You know, how many people do you know, Cyril, that rock up at work or rock up at, I don't know, at your house for a braai and they're in a band mood and you're like, what's happening?
Yeah.
And they blame their boss or their work or so different areas in our life. I watch people, they carry that stuff which has no relation to where they're at into it. So for me, you know, CrossFit's CrossFit. Yeah, I'm disappointed in that. My business is my business. What I will say is that what I am looking at is where are those behaviors repeating themselves. Not where my mood or my disappointment's a mood. I'm disappointed. It's making me feel. It's a feeling. Does that make sense? So I didn't walk in here this morning into the office and sit down in our meeting all disappointed and pissed off. Woe is me because I didn't cart that. You know what I mean? I'm not going to cart that into this place because it doesn't belong. So I'm not going to bring that. That's a whole different. I think we do that on another podcast. We do that with Nicole actually. So she's wonderful when it comes to talking about moods and people's moods and understanding moods. So maybe that's a really good one for next week actually. Is get Nicole to talk on moods and how to manage moods, because you know when people have disappointment, they take it into everywhere sometimes, or they're angry, they take it everywhere, or they so I won't bring my mood. However, what I will question is where are those behaviours coming out elsewhere, because they will come out elsewhere. Where are they coming out in my business? Where am I not in my business following the process that I know that I need to do, that I've even written down, that I've even set out to avoid the disappointment. I want to avoid disappointment. Okay, so and avoid that feeling of disappointment that I didn't do everything I could have. Okay, not the not the disappointment of the results. Okay, if I take it into sales, if I have a plan and my brain says, if I make a list of 100 people and I phone all those 100 people and I get to have a meeting with a percentage of those 100 people and I get to pitch a percentage of those 100 people and I get to send a percentage of those 100 people a quote, a percentage will come on a program. That doesn't make sense. I'll sell them something. That's the fun. That doesn't make sense. So I set up this plan. Okay, so I make, now the plan says make a list of 100 people. Now phone those 100 people and you'll probably get a hold of 80. Now, when you get a hold of 80, 50 will say, yes, please send me an email and come talk to me. Then you send them the email and 40 will speak to you. And of those 40, 30 will want a quote and 20 will buy the program, for example. They're good. Now, if I get to the end thing and I've done all that, I've made those 100 phone calls, spoken to 80 people, and then my contingency plan is, if I don't get 80 out of the 100, if I only get 70, I need to find another 20 to phone. Okay, so I have a contingency plan as well. So I have my plan, I have my contingency, I have all that, so I know what to do. You can't say to me, oh Barry, I understand, but you didn't really know what to do. No, I know what to do. It's pretty simple. If I can go and I say, I did all those steps, I did it with good energy, I learned along the way, and I didn't get the result, I only got 16. I may be disappointed in the result based on the work I did, but I can't be disappointed in the effort and the energy and the drive that I put into it. Because because there's extenuating circumstances. You know, I've sold into enough events in my life that, you know, I've sold a company in to come to one of my events. They paid for all 10 people, and then at the last minute they phoned and said, we can't do this one, we have urgent stuff at work, we'll have to come to the next one. So I made the sale, but they didn't come to the event. That disappointed me, because it's not about just making the sale. I want the people in the room. The reason I sell seats is so I can teach people, not just to make money. I could do that with anything. Does it make sense? 100%. So I hope that's making sense, because then I go back and I go, well, I can't actually be disappointed in myself. I can be disappointed in the result, but not in myself. I think a lot of times, and when I speak to people, the disappointment, they project that the disappointment's in the result, but it's not really. Well, I asked you this morning, you were a little bit disappointed, something very simple, that you dropped the ball on the labels for our last event.
Yeah.
Were you disappointed in the result, or were you disappointed in yourself because you actually just didn't follow the process?
I was actually disappointed because I didn't follow the process.
Does that make sense? So therein lies, is if you had followed the process and you had got the okay, you would have got the results, because it's a very simple
thing,
type of thing.
Yeah.
But the disappointment, I'm going to have to guess, was actually in you.
It was more around the fact of, damn, and I even said it, I didn't read the message Michaela had sent me to completion. So I had seen a piece that I knew that if I forgot this, it was an important part of capturing.
You get it?
The sticker part, I missed it. And then when I find out about it, I'm like, shit, it's right there. I didn't see that.
So now let's take that disappointment beyond ourselves. I've also learned this and observed this in many people. It's that disappointment goes into how we disappoint other people. So we don't deliver on what we said we were going to deliver or not. We didn't get the result, but we honestly didn't do what we said we were going to do.
Yeah.
So guess what? I mean, you guys listening to this, you'll know this. How many times have you done it, or have you watched somebody else do it? Sit around a meeting, and what do? Immediately they go below the line, don't take responsibility, make excuses and justification, blame, get pissed off, get irritated. And the reality is, what are they really getting irritated? Not at you for asking them why they didn't get it done, at themselves, because so instead of actually just taking responsibility and going, okay, I stuffed up. Yes, I'm disappointed that I stuffed up. I'm disappointed I let you down. And I'm disappointed I didn't give myself the opportunity to deliver.
Yeah.
It's not actually the delivery.
No.
That's my take. So, so how does this translate into business? When you set a plan, do the plan. You don't have a lot of... I set a plan to lose weight, and I stick to that plan. And I get... Yeah, now and again I'll cheat and have a shitty day. I get that.
It happens.
But the less shitty days I have, and the less I cheat, and the more I focus on the plan, the better I know that the better my results are going to be. And when I get to the end of that process, I look back and go, okay, well, did I achieve the result I wanted, yes or no? But, you know, I know that last year when I rode in the World Indoor Rowing Champs, I took, from the time I started the 12 weeks to the time I did my final 2,000 meters in the Champs, I took 15 seconds off my time. Now, 15 seconds in 2,000 meters is quite a lot of time per 500 meters. So there's 400 or 500 meters. I took 3.5 seconds. 3 and 3/4, nearly 4 seconds off per 500 meters. Okay. And that's quite a big chunk when you're running at 1 minute 50 per 500 meters. So, you know, my goal was to do a 650, which I have done in practice before, but for whatever reason I didn't do it in the Champs. But I wasn't disappointed. Yes, I was disappointed I didn't get that result, but nothing in me was disappointed within myself, because you know what? I committed for 12 weeks to train 6 days a week, and I did that, and I followed every single thing my coach told me to do. I did, and I didn't have any disappointment. But if I hadn't have, I would have been disappointed in myself.
I feel like
does that make sense? So you take that back into business. What are the plans you set? You know, be disappointed in the result, but don't give yourself the opportunity to be disappointed in yourself because you didn't do everything that you set out to get the result. You know, because things happen in life, and don't make that the reason why you didn't get your result. That doesn't make sense. Other than just don't make you not getting there the reason you didn't get your result. Make that outside circumstances the reason, and not as an excuse, as something honest.
Yeah.
I did everything I could to get there. It didn't work out. Something happened, but I'm not disappointed. Yeah, if that makes sense.
No, 100%. And I mean, like, you give the example of the indoor rowing champs. I actually thought like everybody else was more disappointed for you than you were disappointed for yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Because it was, at least from my point of view, it was like, so I was there from like the beginning when you sat down with Damien.
Yeah, right from
Bobby Day, and this is what's happening. You know, I was like, what is going on here? What is this guy doing now? And to watch you follow that process for 12 weeks and go at it, and you went on holiday and you took the machine with it, a separate car. It was like you. How do I put this? As an outsider, you become a part of it.
Yeah.
Right? You become a part of it, and you want to now see that person win. But when it didn't happen the way that we expected it to happen, it was like, shame, Barry, come on. But that was actually, I feel at least, that was the wrong thing to do, because the win was, and there was no disappointment, because for 12 weeks you did something you've never done before.
100%.
That's actually massive.
So the journey was the win. The end result was like, okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't get it. But the reality is, I stepped back and said, wow, it was my first world champs.
So able to qualify.
So I couldn't. It was like, well, be proud of what you went out to achieve, not the end result. And I think that's a lot of times is people are so focused on the end result and not on the process and the steps and undertaking everything every day that we set out to do.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. And can you look back and say, I honestly did everything. You know, I can remember when I used to play a lot of hockey, we had a coach and he'd say, you guys do whatever you want off the field. But all I ask is that you never walk off a game with being able to take any of you, in any part of you off the field. Can you honestly say, I left everything out there? If every single one of you can say, we left everything out there and we lost. Well, guess what? You get disappointed in the loss.
Yeah.
But that is so minuscule to, we went out there and we gave it half-assed, didn't try.
Then you deserve to lose. For me, that's. I feel like that's. You've said it a few times before, and I remember it from also playing hockey, playing rugby, going into that dark place, because that's the place where that for me is the actual place where you know that you're leaving it all on the field.
100%.
When you know that, okay, I now just grown a fourth lung. It's go time from somewhere, and you come off it,
And isn't that applicable in business?
100%.
And it would be. It'd be an interesting study to sit down with people and go, if we could actually rate that, where in your day or in your week did you really leave nothing behind?
Mm.
And I don't think most people operate at that level in business. I know there's times that I have. There's times I have. There's times I've put events together and there's times where and I know I often do that when it comes to my major events, is where the last 2 or 3 weeks I'm absolutely deep in the field and I'm doing whatever I can to make it happen. But not consistently for the whole game. Not getting up every day and going, what game am I playing and am I playing today? Am I playing today to the absolute best of my ability? Not am I trying. Am I playing today at the absolute best of my ability? And then finishing today and doing the same thing tomorrow. And then being able to step back after a week and say, sure, I didn't get the results I expected, and when it comes to disappointment, I've also learned this. Every single time I've actually given it what I set out to give, I'm never disappointed because the results I get come from places that I couldn't even see. That I couldn't even see, and I'm like, oh wow, I didn't see that, and I achieved stuff that I never ever
Wasn't part of the
never
end goal.
ever knew was possible,
Yeah.
never part of the end goal, and you're like, but it wouldn't have come if I hadn't have just dug in and done everything that I said I was going to. So, yeah, don't leave room for that. Ask yourself every single day when you're doing what you're doing, am I doing it to my best? And whether it works out or it doesn't work out, when I look back, will I be able to say, I left nothing behind. I left nothing on the field. I didn't win, but I left nothing on the field. Because the reality is, it's not just about winning today. And I don't know about you, I'm in this for the long game. This is what I do. I mean, this is it. And in fact, my hope and prayer and what I'm setting up in my business is that my business will be continued long after I'm gone. Why? Because our mission to make a significant impact on the entrepreneurial and business landscape of Africa, that's my mission. Which means the game I'm playing today is just part of that mission.
Yeah.
And you win some and lose some, but are we getting better all the time? And can I ask myself that question? Did I leave anything behind today? And can I be disappointed in how I conducted myself versus am I disappointed in the result? And I definitely don't want to be in both.
Yeah.
Does that make I don't think that makes sense.
And I think for me, from my side, to close it with something that Barry speaks about at self-disclosure. If you haven't heard, I've spoken about self-disclosure about the next one's coming up in June, so you guys can check that out. It's on the website. Why I like it is because of the passion that he says it with, which for me is always a telltale sign of truth. Is this business is his World Cup? This business is his Olympic Games. If you're not practicing and playing at 100% for your Olympic Games or for your World Cup, you're not going to win it. You're not even going to get close to this. You're going to be stuck in the minus four.
You're going to be very
disappointed. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This has been the Uncovering Greatness podcast. For those of you who would like to join us in a room, would like to learn more and grow more and be more so you can do more and have more, please join us at Circle of Influence every single Thursday, Corporate Conference Center.
This week's African public holiday. So do something different. Do something different. Those of you that can't find a Thursday because you're too busy or your business demands it, come and join us. Come and join us. Human Rights Day.
Yeah, as a human, it's your right to live the life that you want to live. So I think being a Circle of Influence will give you that opportunity to do just that. And if you want to find out about anything else about Uncovering Greatness, our programs, what we do and how we do it, please visit www.uncoveringgreatness.co.za. You can leave us a contact. You can put your information in there, and we will get in touch with you. But yeah, if you have any comments or any feedback about the podcast, please let us know, and we will respond as we always do. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and we will see you guys again next week. Peace and love.
Thank you, Suri.